you don't pay attention to a cat for an hour and a half, they die.
Their lips perish.
Yeah, it's true though.
That's really funny.
It's tragic.
That's cats
That's
for you.
sad. You're gonna have
It is.
7 dead cats.
7 dead cats,
People
unless they're
have-
watching. In which
What
case,
if you do like the Tinkerbell thing and you
clap them
clap
back
and
to
you
life?
believe
I
in
do
them?
believe in cats.
I believe in cats.
I believe in cats. Do you remember when that shit happened on Hook and Robin Williams clapped and Julia Roberts was just faking it? She looked up at him, faking it to his face.
Yes.
What an ass.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
She's faking an orgasm.
Is that what bringing back? So if you have an orgasm, you're being brought back to life?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's how we stay alive.
Oh, there it is, V-Pirate. It's my boy.
Hello!
Think of how long it's been since we've done this.
What's up, Byron? I know, my God. Oh, it's
I know.
been 600 years.
Up to 600 years. He saw me 2 days ago. That's true. He did. He was at the store hanging out.
Oh, really?
I see Byron actually several times a week.
I saw John yesterday.
That's true. You saw me last night. It was weird.
It was.
I was on your couch, not the other way around.
I'm not on your couch. This is your couch.
It's one of my couches, a mobile couch. Yeah, single seat mobile couch unit.
Cool.
Yeah, it's nice.
Mm.
It's pretty great. Oh, so how are you?
It's good to be back.
It is. I've been missing this, and I mean, we've had so much going on. The house is still a mess, but you know, it feels good to sit down and finally have like a chance to just. It's always therapeutic. This is always good for me every single time.
Yeah.
And it makes me sad when we don't have the opportunity to do it because I always want to. Sometimes I know I don't have the energy, but every time we do it, it's always good.
We've both been a mess.
Yeah, you've been busy. What's been on your plate?
I'm in the middle of a total job transition. I'm leaving Evolution entirely. I'll be out of there in 2 weeks. And then going to another one. So right now I'm working like 6 days a week, which kind of sucks a lot. I don't know why you're looking like that.
I'm just listening very intently.
And then I haven't been feeling very good for a while. So I've been kind of just really trying to take care of my.
You feel like you're not good at basketball?
Yeah, I've really been feeling bad about my basketball
you
skills.
feel like you're less skilled in life?
I feel bad about basketball.
That sucks. Yeah, your 3-pointer has been awful recently.
I know, so
You're at like a 0.1%.
well, I just haven't wanted to be seen because
On the court?
or anywhere.
Anywhere, 'cause people-
I felt so bad about
Yeah,
myself.
that's the basketball chick who can't even play. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, why is she even in the league?
I know.
Why is she even in the
With that
NBA?
height, she would have some damn talent.
Yeah, some advantage. Yeah,
But no.
put that to use. Yeah, that sucks. Work on your layup. That's all suggested. That's true. You travel a lot, and that's not good either.
Right, yeah, I'm a globetrotter.
You're one of the Globetrotters. Yeah, that's where they came from. Is they traveled with the ball so consistently that they traveled the globe. That's how they got their names. I don't know if anybody knows that. I'm a basketball fanatic, by the way, so I know. Eric's here. Eric's been asking about this, and I've had multiple.
I've missed doing this. I've missed you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy. I talked to Rick. Well, I texted Rick earlier. Can't tell you what about though.
You can tell me I'm your friend. All right. Whatever you do, don't travel to Ireland. Your nipples will shrink. Well, if you eat the potatoes, you can go there without eating potatoes.
What are these?
Those are sunglasses, Michelle.
Should I do this?
Should you?
Should I?
If you want to protect your eyes from the sun's harmful rays. Yeah. It's highly
I kind of
recommended.
am enjoying this.
You look good. They're Metroid Prime sunglasses.
What other things could I do to my appearance while we're
Like a hat or something?
It's a shirt.
Well, you've got cat ears.
Oh, this is good. I would like
Sorry.
to do this
That's
cat
fine.
ears.
All my cards are down in the
Yeah,
ground.
we kept the door closed so that all the cats couldn't mess things up, and then Ariel came in and started throwing around messes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Did you watch the fight?
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Oh my god.
It was such a blast. Because I wasn't sure if we were going to be into it. All right, so on the Blue Lady podcast, we will
Remember
talk
how I
about.
used to watch fights all the time?
I used to actually go
I
with you.
used to- yeah.
You used to. I would visit you sometimes, like at like the Spectators or
Yeah,
whatever.
because I would watch
Or
every single fight. I was completely
sneakers
wrapped.
or-
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely used to love it. And then I wasn't into it for a while, but every once in a while I come out of my fight hiding to watch.
It's
one
kind of
if
fun.
it's
This
worth
was
it
such a
to
big
me.
hype. It was fun.
This one was so worth it.
Because the hype was exciting.
Oh
and then
my
the fact that
God.
it lasted as long as it did, you got to watch it. And Byron called it like play by play before it all happened.
For real, I saw that.
Oh, it was
like
great.
some exchange you guys
He was
had.
like, yep, he's going to go down. He's going to, like, Mayweather's going to just, gas him for the first couple rounds, get him tired out. And then by the 9th round, he's going to, be too tired to fight. Exactly what
That's
happened.
crazy.
That was fantastic.
How did you do that? Byron is threatening to fight me as usual.
Because he watched the fight and he's like, I want to fight somebody.
For whatever
badly.
reason, Byron and
Yeah.
I have
You have a lot of fights going
we have
on.
some kind of ancient beef,
A lot of
ancient
fights going on with
grudge
each other.
breaks to new mutiny.
How ancient?
I'll let Byron explain that to you.
Explain it.
Yeah, Byron could tell you how ancient we have hated each other and wanted to fight.
Well, you're significantly older than him. So did it start when he was born?
No, it was before that.
It was before he was born, you were mad at each other.
It was long before that.
Before you were born.
He started it though.
Oh, he did. That's true.
Yeah, it was his problem.
Yeah. Okay. That's
Yeah.
that's bad of him.
He had a problem.
How are you like emotionally? Are you in a good place?
I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm in a really good place.
good.
I'm in a
Good.
great place.
How are you feeling about life?
Ooh, good.
Go good. I like
Everything
that.
about it.
I like that. Everything.
Almost everything. Except you.
Except for doing this. This is the only part of your day
Yeah.
that's actually been.
This is the only time I feel
I'm bringing you down. Yeah.
suicidal is when I'm right here.
Well, the importance of this is for you to maintain balance. Like life is really good at, you have to come back here to regulate, get knocked down a couple of pegs.
Yeah, I don't want to ascend too much. I mean, sort of.
You don't want to be too enlightened. Gonna hang out with some guy.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. Let's see. So he's talking about the prophecy of the two great dragons that were born, the dragon of the east and the dragon of the west. The dragon of the west is my ancestor, the dragon of the east is Michelle's. One of them, one time the dragon of the east told the dragon of the west, hey, you suck. So I guess that's where it started.
Yeah.
Yeah. If anybody is joining us brand new tonight, by the way that Michelle and I do this is we talk. We just talk, and sometimes it'll be pertinent to our lives. Sometimes it'll just be things we've heard. It'll be social issues we're addressing or just discussing. Or if anybody have anything that you want to say or contribute or ask about, whether it's publicly or anonymously, feel free, and we will talk about and discuss and just sort of enjoy whatever.
Yes.
You know, this is a public forum for people to come. And I like to think of it just as Loveline, because I loved listening to that show.
Me too.
Because it seems like they had such a good time together, and one was significantly smarter than the other. That's me. And one of them was Adam Carolla, which is actually your Adam Carolla.
Okay.
Do you not believe me or what?
Why are you so defensive? Dr. Drew is never defensive like that.
No, I'm just asking. I just wanted to clarify.
You just wanted to know if I believe you.
Yeah, I wanted to know. Yeah, like, how do you feel?
Right now, I believe you.
Yeah, tell me. Okay, good. Right now. Okay, continue.
Continue what?
Believing. Yeah, for the duration of this podcast.
I believe.
Oh, good. Yeah, the fairies are here.
I'm gonna believe throughout the duration of the podcast.
Yeah.
So you're Dr. Drew now?
I am the new Dr. Drew.
All right.
Yep.
I'll be Adam Carolla.
I
Adam
like
Carolla is
Carolla.
the one that always says, "Hang up on your stuff. Hang up on your stuff."
I love him. Those guys are so fun.
Yeah, me too.
And so, yeah, that's the spirit of what this podcast is, us talking about whatever it is, anything, literally anything. We will talk about pizza. We will talk about suicide. We will talk about, great things and difficult things and fun things and morose things. And, like, really, the whole spectrum is here for us to discuss, because the life is so infinitely possible.
The gamut is endless.
It is.
It feels really good to be back.
It does. I feel enlightened.
Enlightened, huh? Yeah. It's because I've been out there absorbing all this enlightenment, and here I am in the
That's
room.
right. You're dispersing it
I'm
now.
dispersing it now. It's like emanating off me. It smells really bad, but enlightenment all over the place.
Pizza suicide. Would that be like if a pizza makes itself with the intent to be eaten?
Yeah, I kind of feel like it could be a joint collaboration of being made. Like it could, allow others to make it.
So
well.
it's if like Frankenstein's monster said, "Make me so I can die."
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that sucks. Eats itself. Okay, so it eats itself. Do you ever see the movie Spaceballs?
Yeah.
Okay, do you remember the enemy in the movie Pizza the Hut?
Yes.
He locks himself in his car, eats himself to death?
Yes.
That's great. Have you seen Spaceballs?
No.
No.
Oh, it's very
Ooh,
good.
Movie night.
It's Mel Brooks Excellence. Actually, that's on the schedule for
Oh, it
movie
is?
nights. Yeah,
When?
I don't remember the exact date, but it's coming up.
Because you're lying. If it were true, you'd probably be able to talk about it.
I know I'm not at liberty. I signed an NDA.
I'm not at liberty to
Yeah.
talk about it.
Yeah, no one's allowed. Pizza suicide is when a pizza falls out of the oven before you can grab it. That's happened too.
That's a really sad one.
What sucks about that one too is that
A
could be
jumper.
misclassified as pizza homicide, or what it is, it's a pizza homicide, but it's counting as a suicide because nobody sees the whole story.
That one's really easy to frame a person.
It is a person, not a pizza. Yeah. Can you frame somebody for suiciding a pizza? Or is it assisted suicide? If you eat a piece of pizza. I don't know the consciousness of pizza.
I don't know the consciousness of pizza.
Yeah. It's a new bumper sticker. New slogan. New epitaph.
Okay.
Okay, are you ready?
Ready.
Are we starting the podcast right now?
We're gonna start
I'm
now.
gonna start 15 minutes in, 17 minutes in. I don't know how long.
How long in are we?
15 minutes ish.
Why isn't there like a thing that shows us how long? Isn't there usually? Or am I making that up?
Don't know. I think you're right. I think there normally is something that like pops up and says, but
I thought
I don't
so
know.
too. Yeah, usually we have the little thing goes across the bottom
Little
that
counter.
says, yeah, we have a little thing.
So Rick says, because of health issues, I'm back on pain meds. I've had a problem with them in the past. Doctors are aware. What is your opinion on how to deal with the situation?
To deal with the situation.
Problem with them in the past. And with pain meds, are you discussing problem with...
Well, addiction.
Right, yeah. So that's
Yeah. So Rick, first of all, I mean, how do you feel about it emotionally? Like, do you like whenever we have to go back on something that we freed ourselves from? I mean, there are a lot of different ways to feel about it. Like, somebody else made me do this, whatever. Sometimes it feels like really powerless and freaky. I mean, it can feel a lot of different ways. Like, are you scared? Are you afraid it's going to take anything over? Are you?
because knowing the purpose of taking the pills in terms of I'm in pain, I'm going to use this to alleviate, as opposed to I need to escape to something, or I'm making a choice. Because the options are you can be in pain, it can be terrible, or you can look at the pills with the intent to help you deal with the pain, as opposed to saying, I just
Worried,
yeah,
scared.
and that's fair. That's fair.
I'm curious about, are the doctors aware of the addiction history? Was that the only option that they could give you? Was narcotic?
So I wonder what kind of options there are in terms of pain meds.
Well, it's a common issue that people have. I mean, there's a lot of people are running around with addiction histories or addiction issues, and then something happens and they have to get a shot of morphine, or they have to whatever happens. And I hear it often. People are afraid of what that is going to do to their recovery.
Sure.
Yeah.
Something that can be consumed sparingly and in like a certain sort of state of mind, a certain consciousness. I mean, I know the addiction thing stems very deep, and it's not something that will simply just leave. But I think you know far more about this than I do. In fact, I'm very much on the outside.
Well, in terms of how to deal with it, one of the first things that I would absolutely suggest is, I mean, your family, Byron, Emily, I mean, your family has watched your life unfold in that way. So you're not the only person that knows the signs. Internally, when I feel like this, or when I start thinking like this is when I'm starting to go towards the momentum that is going to get out of control for me. 2 surgeries coming up too. And Emily, Byron, other people that have watched your situation would also be able to tell you this is reminding me of this point. So the first thing that I would say is to have in place for yourself and for other people around you that are close to you and love you, just keeping eyes peeled for what behaviors, what repeat thinking patterns, what repeat emotional patterns you start to see happening, or just watching out for them. So, because the thing is, I mean, sometimes the only way to really know if I'm ready to start taking something that would have had the potential of relapsing me bad in the past, the only way for me to know if I'm ready for that is to do it sometimes. That's why, I mean, that watchfulness is so important, because sometimes there's actually not an ability to avoid something, especially when there's a major surgery. I mean, a lot of people that have a history with opiates or opioids or heroin, and morphine is a necessity, that's really a scary situation for somebody. And also being prescribed certain types of pills that they're prescribing you, yeah, it's definitely a fearful situation. So the watchfulness, but also being really mindful of what you're telling yourself about it too, because the way that we choose to talk to ourselves about a situation that we're in, like, oh, this is gonna be a problem, this is gonna ruin me, this is gonna whatever, being very aware of the way you're talking to yourself also. And if you feel like you have the capacity to shift that and aim it towards this is temporary, this is to really pick and choose what it is that you are believing about the fact that you're taking these meds right now. Mind over matter is a real thing, and it's definitely a real thing. And you've talked about that. We've talked about that with you, the mind over matter piece. So I would monitor the shit out of what I was telling myself about it, for sure. Yeah. But what narcotics, that was the only option for pain meds? Is that what the yes is about? Saying yes? 2 surgeries coming up.
No.
Something, if I continue.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, of course.
Just in my own even experiences with.
Talk loud.
Oh, sorry, my own even experiences with addiction and things of that sort. It can be very difficult to hear from the people around you, even though they know you. Like you said before, your sign's better even maybe than
Sometimes
you do.
way better.
But it can be hard to hear that when you're going through that, because you can be frustrated, you can be angry, you can be struggling in those moments, and you may not want to hear it from them. So it can be better to hear it from yourself. So I would even suggest maybe starting a journal of some kind where you are
That's a good idea.
able to monitor your own behavior in that way, so you hear it from your own voice, as opposed to even someone trying to take you aside and be like, look, this is how your behavior has shifted in the past couple of days. Whereas if that does happen, then you can go back and kind of read through how you've been changing and how your self-thought has been changing.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Keep yourself accountable.
Yeah, then you hear your
that's a
own
great
voice
idea.
tell you, as opposed to hearing simply someone else. It feels critical, it feels hurtful.
Maybe, yeah, I mean, that's definitely what I mean by, like, noticing your own thought patterns that you're having, and what emotional patterns are you starting to feel, and being very monitoring of that. But in terms of, like, hearing it from external, I think it can feel really offensive when it's not straight up welcomed.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, what I'm hearing from Rick in this situation is actually like, help me, watch me,
Right, of course.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I mean, asking that question, like, do you notice anything funky about me? Are you seeing anything, freaky about me? But yeah, I agree. Like having it either down on paper or having said it out loud to somebody, even if just checking in with somebody on a daily basis. This is how I'm feeling today. This is what I'm noticing today. These are some of the, thoughts that I noticed coming back today. Whether that's in a journal form or whether it's getting it logged with people around you. But yeah, definitely getting that documented, so to speak.
Sometimes I think it
somehow.
can be more powerful to hear your own voice
Definitely.
tell you
Yeah,
how
definitely.
you've changed.
Do you ever do that kind of thing where I mean, because I've always written, but I've also done like my own just video sort of journals so that I can
voice
go back
memos on my phone?
and yeah. Do you do voice? Because voice is actually a really powerful
Your
way
own
that
voice telling you.
yes,
a lot,
yes,
yeah.
that's one of the ways that a lot of treatments are going in terms of technology, where you hear your own voice, or you put your own you set out your own, these are my goals, or this is what I want to, this is what I need to hear when I'm feeling like
It's
whatever.
like an
You have
objective
that-
self-affirmation.
Yeah, you have that ready
That's
to
really
hit play.
fascinating. I've never done that, and that seems like a great
It's
idea.
really powerful.
And it can be either very hurtful or very helpful,
Sure.
depending on what it is you've heard, what you have to hear yourself
Hear
say.
yourself saying.
I wonder if the way that I've done that is, when I did my Stupid Day videos, it was sort of skirting that line. 'Cause I never have sat down and like talked to myself, but I think sometimes going back and looking at those, it was very easy for me to see what I was communicating in terms of, I'm in pain, or I'm sad, or I'm having a hard time, and so it wasn't directly addressing something the way you guys are suggesting, which I think is outstanding. But I think it was a way for me to put something out there that could be tangible, I guess, a tangible experience for me to reflect upon later and look at it
Yeah.
in a regard. But I think like a direct journal is a great idea. I've never done that.
And I notice, I notice this a lot. I hear it a lot, and Ariel, you could probably attest to this too. Whenever I'm hearing somebody's story, somebody's trauma story, or it's the first time they've said it out loud, sometimes it shocks the hell out of the person telling it, because there's something about, I've had this experience with talking about my own life and my childhood and the abuse that I went through and the, adoption and foster homes and bouncing around and stuff, that times when I've told that story, it's almost like, God, I didn't realize how big that was.
Hearing it is hard.
Hearing it from myself, saying it,
sense.
hearing it, and watching somebody else hear it, watching somebody else absorb it,
Mhm.
and seeing, that can be really, because sometimes, our biggest protection in our own past stories is that we don't see it visible to anybody else, or we don't see it visible to ourselves. But getting it out there, especially when somebody else is listening to you, it's like such a spotlight.
Yeah.
And
Well,
it makes it so real.
The best protections I think that you have is that it's in the past and it's already over, and you've coped in whatever way you've coped, sort of blanketed in right now. And as soon as you open the doors to letting someone know, they can react, and just a single like twitch of a muscle on their face tells you something about what they could be thinking about something so vulnerable to you that you've already sheltered yourself to.
Right.
And when you have to say it, and when you have to open a wound that you don't know what they'll react like, and it's horrifying. It's awful. So yeah, I understand.
Yeah, and so Byron says that's what my blog is for, because I personally cannot recognize problems until they are put directly in front of me. That's why I write it down, so that I can realize exactly what my thoughts are. If I just think about my problems in an abstract manner, I can never realize exactly what I'm feeling or what is wrong. Yeah, I think being able to look at something and try to view it from an outside point of view, because there's a lot of things that we do internalize, and we make an excuse for them, or we make an understanding of them that is, I'm the exception to my understanding. Whereas if we saw these exact issues with somebody else, we'd be quick to go, holy crap, that's not okay, or this is how I feel about it, this is what I see. For a very long time, when I was dealing with the Christina thing, there were times when you would have to sort of like bring me down, because I said, well, this is the reason she's doing it, and this is what happened, and you'd
get really focused on her and excusing her.
Yeah, and once you put it objectively in a certain way, saying, if this happened like this to somebody, you would stop them. You would say it's not okay. You would file it as abuse, and like a laundry list of other, very clear.
You'd want to protect them from.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so, when I finally had a chance to actually hear that from you, internalize and go, holy crap, that's exactly what's happening. It's because it's so easy to be like, well, but I'll be the exception because I don't want to inconvenience somebody, or I don't want to bother somebody, or I don't want to, make somebody feel this way or that way. So we sort of protect ourselves in a damaging way, because it's not allowing ourselves to burst out of that so we can begin healing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting. The perspective that we take when we step outside and listen to ourselves, or and it has a similar relationship to when we try to put ourselves in someone else's shoes.
Right.
That's just that that opposite direction of trying to change a vantage point, and how differently that makes something be experienced.
So Rick says, I have a growth in the lining of my stomach that has made a hole. It's painful and very uncomfortable. That's going to be the first surgery. And then they found a cyst on my kidney and colon.
Wow.
Yeah, it's going to be quite a set of surgeries.
Yeah, so those don't sound like things that are going to white knuckle a vein.
Yeah.
Those are going to need
You can't just bite the leather strap and be like, I'll wait till it's done. Yeah.
Hence the second surgery.
Sure.
Rick, are you noticing anything so far? Hi, Kevin. Are you noticing anything so far, Rick, that's concerning you about being on the meds right now? Or what are you noticing in terms of your own thought processing, your emotions about it? Is it bringing up any past thoughts that are worrisome in terms of relapse for you? Kevin. I haven't talked to Kevin in forever.
I've never talked. I don't know who that is.
No?
No.
Neither do I.
He's one of my favorite people, but I don't know.
Yeah, I've never met him.
I've heard of him, but I don't know the name.
You've heard of him, but you don't know the name.
Yeah, I was like, this is this dude you should talk to, Mr. Cool Ice, Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's how I think of him too.
Yeah, that's. Have you seen his tattoo? This is Mr. Cool Ice. I'll show you.
No, but I don't read very good.
You don't read. That's true. You don't read good. Yeah.
I don't read good at
I
all.
don't read good.
I
I don't read none
I'm
good.
not a good reader.
Yeah, that's a big one. And I mean, I think that one of the best things that you can do as well too is as these things are coming up, talk to us, message us, text us. Like we are a support group. We will be here. We will go to your house, and hang out with you and really be there. Like this isn't kind of like a, hey, talk to us once a week and we hope you're going to be okay kind of thing. Like we'll be there. If we do a Blue Lady there, or just come to hang out or whatever it is, you have a support group of people that are willing to listen and understand and, help you find the best way for yourself to address it. Because who knows what the result's going to be, but I believe you are far stronger than you will ever know. Number one is you are a remarkable human being on thousands of different levels.
Yeah. I'm really worried about being able to stop, and it was very difficult the first time.
Mm-hmm. Sure. I can imagine. Reprimanding the cats.
Yeah, I mean, it's something, Rick, that parts of it sounds like are not going to be avoidable right now.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy.
So, right. So, I mean, enlist your army around you. These are the people that
we're here. Not just us, there's many wonderful people who love you.
I don't know how many people watching this have had Lord addiction at that level, but it is like a freaking black hole. It can take your and it's you know what, the way that I've been talking about it lately is, if you've ever really experienced a craving or ever really experienced a compulsion to do something, it can come in different levels of severity. Like it could be like, a wave on the beach that's just sort of like a little one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a little bit of a, what's that called?
Just like the tide.
Surf? Tide.
Yeah.
Or I mean, you can be talking like a straight up tsunami where you're going out to sea. You're not gonna, you're not gonna hold that back. And one way or another, that water is going to have its way with you. It's got a big fat current. So, and that's what every addict, every one of us that has had a history like that, we're aware of how big that wave can be, how largely that current can completely sweep us out somewhere else. And the powerlessness can definitely feel like a real dilemma, a real thing.
Yeah. But
we'll absolutely be there and keep us like, I haven't done a lot of reading on Facebook or anything. I haven't followed a whole lot, but
you don't know how to read yet though either.
Well, I haven't learned to read, so it's really hard to read things. But that's certainly something we can like bookend, help to bookend on a regular basis. And so what I mean by that is, when you have a surgery and there are some particular days that you're going to have a heavier dip into the pain meds than other days, bookending it where you allow people around in a different kind of way, or you plan a certain kind of some sort of self-care for your body, because your body is really what's going to be having the most memory, even more than your mind. Your body is what's going to be having the most memory. And additionally, being in addiction is traumatic. Like, it creates some level of PTSD, not that you didn't already have that as it is, but having some things in place that counter that PTSD, because that's what really I'd be the most concerned about if I were in your shoes right now, is afraid of my own mind, afraid of where my own mind would be going. Yeah. We appreciate you too.
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
love you very much.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, the dynamic of the podcast almost changed as soon as everything with Rick started to sort of flourish, And it just happened that we were talking about your project. Byron said, "Hey,
my dad,"
and then boom, like literally everything.
And I've said this before,
grew.
But yeah, when I was talking about it, and Byron was saying, "Yeah, my dad." I mean, I was skeptical, because so often people are like, "Oh yeah, I've had an addiction," and I'm like, "Well, okay, tell me about it." And sometimes it's not nearly anything like Rick has been through.
Sure.
Or, oh yeah, I've been in trouble with the law, and sometimes it's not nearly anything like what Rick has been through. Or,
Yeah.
yeah, I grew up in a world that that was completely gang afflicted and
Mhm.
violence afflicted, and
Mhm.
and that is a completely different planet afflicted.
Right.
And a lot of the time, people that I that are trying to really identify with what I'm talking about can't. And when I met Rick, I was like, holy shit, this guy has every checklist of,
Mhm.
of what it is that I'm talking about, what it is that I was looking for.
Yeah, the perfect person, perfect example of where it can go and what it can lead to. I mean, like the recovery.
Yeah.
And an incredible turnaround.
Yeah, exactly what I was looking for. Have you talked to that Joel guy, the camera?
I did. He just let me know that he's crazy busy with stuff.
Does he know what his time frame might be down the line? Can you find out from him?
I'll talk to him again.
Even if it's 6 months from now or something.
He actually contacted me. Yeah.
I would just like to be able to.
Let's see. Yo, I sent you guys both videos about Ross Cappuccino. I know Michelle checked it out.
Yeah.
Did you ever see it, John? I think that would be a really good topic. I did not yet.
Oh, man.
Let's see. Currently fighting with dial-up level connection speed. I'll be part of the conversation soon. No worries as it comes. We actually had one. I feel really bad about this. A question from almost a month ago. About
we did?
Yeah, that we didn't get a chance to. I'll treat it as anonymous. Let's see. So, but this is something, and I'll speak to this individual because he's somebody that I know, and let him know that during this episode, this is something we're going to have discussed. But we're not going to be getting any back and forth because he usually watches these afterwards and catches up on them. But he said this is a big one too.
Okay.
There's another problem I was wondering if you guys could talk about. My friend recently told me that this guy took advantage of her while she was drunk. In fact, she says he flat out raped her. She says she has gone to a detective and told him about it, but has otherwise decided to stay quiet and told me to do the same. I want to respect her wishes, even though I think this is a big mistake since it allows the guy to get away with it and prey on more women. Now, this other woman I know is seeing him, and I have told her about what this other friend says he did to her and warned her about him, but she would not believe me and thinks he's a great guy. What should I do?
Wow.
That's complicated. Yeah. Let's see. So V-Pirate responds to Kevin saying he'd one of those free AOL Minutes CDs. Because Kevin's dial-up speed is not good. Byron's going to get him some AOL freebie discs.
Oh.
Welcome to the 21st century.
Light speed right into
Light
it.
speed. Yep, exactly.
Okay. Friend, sexually assaulted.
Mhm.
She doesn't want to come forward, which is really common. Doesn't want to come forward about it. This individual, the attacker, or the perpetrator, is involved with somebody else that this guy knows too, and is concerned about her.
Yeah. But she won't believe him.
Okay. Wow.
Regarding the issue.
Yeah, that has a lot of different angles to it because the choice to come forward or not with that is a very personal decision.
Oh.
It's a very personal decision. And anytime that there has been some form of not just sexual assault, any kind of assault, but certainly above all else, any sort of sexual assault that I ever learn of or encounter or work with somebody on, what they say yes and what they say no to freaking matters.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, at that point, if somebody says, no, I don't want to talk about this, then no, hell no, I'm not going to try to force that to happen because, when somebody says no and that no isn't honored, the last thing I want to do in healing is not honor that no.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, I think first and foremost, the individual that was hurt, that was harmed, the fact that she's saying, no, I'm not coming forward with this, that is a really, really personal thing that I don't think anything sexual should be forced for anybody, and I don't think anything after a forced sexuality should be forced either, including disclosure. Hi, Emily. Including disclosure. So,
sure.
I mean, that's, and at the same time, I mean, the other angle is there is a danger of this individual and somebody else that this guy who wrote cares about a lot that might be exposed to the same kind of danger happening.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, what he did, like informing her, hey, this is what I'm aware of and this is what I'm worried about and whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know much more that you can do. I mean, because, people are going to do what they're going to do, and grown-ups are grown-ups.
Yeah. Yeah, that's tricky. I mean, because you don't want to out the person who requested not to. You don't want to out their situation publicly in any capacity. But yeah, to sort of bring it forth and say, listen, I'm aware of something that may have happened that really you just need to be aware of. That's a very scary thing. It's a very scary situation. And the scariest part about all of it is that the girl who was harmed, because she can't come forward with it. Like I said, it's a very common thing, because right off the bat, who believes her? Very frustrating.
Well, evidently.
Well, he does.
He does.
Which is good.
But evidently, I mean, he does, but also somebody else in the mix does not.
She's defaulted into like being in a spot where she might not be believed, because that's what happens with all the time, which is why it doesn't get reported.
It's really common, yeah.
The reason it doesn't get reported is because it feels like a wasted, futile effort, and even if it is believed, there's already odds stacked against women for some bizarro reason where, well, what did you do to instigate, or what did you do? You know, like women get grilled over what the things they did to cause this, and it's insane to think that, people will try to find a way to invalidate it at all instead of taking it as a claim, saying, holy crap, hold the phone, stop everything, we have to figure this out. It kind of seems like, well, answer X, Y, and Z first, and if those check out, then sure, well, maybe you're right.
Yeah.
Maybe you're telling the truth.
Yeah.
That's freaky as hell. Yeah. I've heard a lot of these.
She's already admitted to being intoxicated, so she's...
Right, yeah. I mean, when intoxication is part of it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
People have such an amazing
wall that they put up towards them.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just amazing to me. Like if I have a home and I leave the door unlocked or something like that, and somebody comes in and steals everything or kills my whole family or something,
it hurts.
Then
you didn't deserve it.
Right. Yeah.
Were you just asking for it?
But I have a home, therefore I should expect that it's going to be broken into.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I have a family. I should expect that they're going to be harmed or whatever.
Yeah.
The case may be.
It's really interesting.
But with sexual assault, that's actually something that.
Yeah.
That culturally happens a lot, and oftentimes people are not believed for it. That happens really commonly. So her choice to not come forward, I think that has to be honored.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. If that's what she truly wants.
And I think we all like to think, oh, I would definitely come forward or whatever, or
theoretically, sure.
But how many of us has that happened to?
How simple is it really?
I mean, that we didn't, or that it's going to happen that we won't.
There are so many underlying complications with simply, a solution where none of the steps to that solution are usually considered by people. Aaron and I were discussing this the other night, in sort of the same vein. Like whenever my store, gets broken into, people or like robbed at gunpoint, people say, "We'll just keep a gun behind the counter, teach them a lesson." It's like, Jesus, that's not the solution. That's not an answer. That's this weird answer with 1,000 steps you never thought about to get to that point. Like it's not just a simple do this and you're fine. It doesn't work like that. And in the case of this scenario, I think there's a lot of things that simply aren't considered by people. Oh, that's what I would do, therefore it's easy for you, is a really weird angle to take,
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I've not talked about it on this podcast, and in no way, shape, or form am I saying this in like any way that I want anybody uncomfortable. But I have been through a sexual abuse in the past, and that the disclosure was done for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like it wasn't my decision, and it was against. I mean, it wasn't like anybody asked me, can we go tell the world about this, or can we call the police or anything like that? That was actually done for me. And there are positives and drawbacks to that, but I can definitely attest to how additionally violating it feels to have that. Well, we're going to talk about it, and if this is written and there's a report about you that I did not instigate and I did not ask to be filed or anything like that.
Right.
And that's additionally violating. It really was. So So I think no matter how logical it is that, oh, if something happens, go tell the police, or if something happens, go shout it from a mountaintop.
Yeah.
It's a very, very personal thing how that gets handled. So I think it's really important that what he's done and what he's concerned about, I mean, his heart's in like a perfect place, and I think he's done exactly what I would
sort
do
of the best
if
right
I were
thing.
in his shoes. That's exactly what I would do.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's the crazy thing about a horribly shitty situation is you're not going to have some like it's all wrapped up in a nice package response to it, because it's a shitty situation. Like all the ingredients to it are total garbage and total terror and total whatever the case may be for however she's feeling.
Yeah.
You're not going to wrap that up in some nice form. You're not going to dress that up.
So you have Byron comes in and says, sort of in the same vein, I've actually been recently falsely accused of sexual assault. It's a girl that I hooked up with, everything was fine and good, but she's roommates with one of my best friends, and she told her that I got her drunk and all this and blah, 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 when there wasn't a drop of alcohol anywhere near us.
Wow.
If it hadn't been my best friend that she had told, who immediately told me, hey, she's saying you got her drunk and all this, that doesn't even sound like you, could have ended on a lot worse on my end. That's a very scary thing. Yeah. And Kevin's phone is all good to go now, or whatever he's watching on. That's good. And Rick says there's a girl at my work, and her husband sent her daughter a dirty picture of his privates, and she called her daughter a liar. And it's scary to be defaulted into, we don't believe you because it hasn't, And yes, like any situation, there can be false accusations, but it's something to be treated seriously immediately every time. It's something that should not be treated with.
What really gets to me is that what really gets to me a lot about that scenario is, okay, so we go into this investigative Sherlock Holmes mode. Like, I want to say this is true or is not true. I want to be some verdict applier.
Yeah.
I want to make I want to make sense of it. I want it to, if it doesn't completely fit together in a sequence or a story that I appreciate, then I'll call it a lie or whatever. We go into this mode when really I think what is the most significant thing about that whatsoever, fucking regardless of whether it happened or not, is this person's having an experience. This person is having like a psychological and emotional experience in the world. Why is that not the loudest part of that? You know what I'm saying? Whether it happened or not. And that's the fact that gets put on the back burner to, well, it couldn't have, or it could have, or it couldn't have, or it could have. That gets put on the back burner when the reality of that person's inner world is actually what matters the most of it. You know what I mean? I mean, we all know that our justice system, it's not like it runs around doing a lot to all the rapists. I mean, the people that commit sexual assault, it's not like they're always getting some sort of, justice applied. That doesn't happen all the time. And we all know that. So having that in mind, to me, should be even more reason to not make that the primary thing that we're doing. Is what really happened, what didn't happen, what should be the punishment, what shouldn't be the punishment. I think that that a person's experience and what Byron's talking about, this girl that's saying whatever she's saying, I mean, that's a hell of a conversation. I'd be interested to talk to her.
Absolutely.
About, like, what's going on in that head of yours here.
And Byron brings up a very good observation of both sides of this are absolutely terrifying. On my end, had people believed her, it could have ruined my life.
Absolutely.
On the other hand, the thought that people won't believe her is equally terrifying.
Yes.
It's a very complicated,
right?
Yeah, there's no simple, like, well, here's what you do. Done. There's no blanket answer. There's no easy button. This is a mess. The whole spectrum is a very difficult situation because you never want to invalidate somebody's genuine experience. But, like this specifically, this is a great example of the complications of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Angles, all kinds of them. And again, I mean, I think the reason that people are oftentimes like, oh, no, didn't happen or whatever, or, oh, yeah, he's a monster. I think the reason that we are so quick to do that is because we like our packages wrapped up cleanly, nicely. We want them to be a certain shape that makes sense to us. And we're not the greatest at tolerating the mess that a lot of times things really are.
Right.
And that's a mess.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and this in line with this, but prospectively to the person that wrote into you and to what I think it was maybe Emily that said she knew someone whose daughter.
Yeah.
When it comes to the, I think
11 years old.
sometimes to the perspective of the people who don't want to believe, I think it comes also down to the fact that when we have to think about the people who are committing these crimes, they're not doing it to everyone they know.
Mhm.
And it's not like a person who's going to sexually assault this one woman that they encounter.
Mhm.
They're not going to sexually assault every single woman that
Right.
they encounter.
Right.
Or even the person that they are with. Or the one
Right.
person that they'll maybe be interested with, or that they'll marry, or that it's not like it's blanketed to this is how they're just going to be for the rest of their life, or that every single person that they encounter is going to be victimized by them. Sometimes it's very specific and it's singular, and it may be a one-time event, and so it's something that we have to think about, because what often we'll do, and when we know someone who is accused, so maybe in this mother's case, is she knows this person, and he's like, well, he's never done anything to me,
Right.
so you've got to be lying.
Mhm.
And that reverse kind of logic gets used a lot, and it's held in like in courts many times, specifically as in the news a lot
is.
these days with like
What's
the
the
Kesha
history?
case.
Do we know? Right.
They brought a lot of celebrities in to vouch for
Yeah.
Dr. Luke, whatever, saying, oh well, he never raped me. It's like, does that work though?
Yeah.
Because it's like, just because you know someone who is claiming to be assaulted, and you also know the person who assaulted them, but they didn't assault you,
Mhm.
does that work?
Yeah.
And I think that's like this sort of backwards train of logic that gets
Yeah.
pulled with believing and not believing people.
Right.
Is we forget that the people who commit these crimes aren't going to hurt everyone they know,
Right.
and we want
True.
to think the best of them based on our experience of them, and not realize that our experience isn't everybody's. And while this is horrifying, and I can't believe it's going to come out of my mouth, what might in some way be comforting to the person that wrote in is he may never harm this other girl.
Mhm.
She may be perfectly safe,
Yeah.
and in a way she may know that, because there may be something about her that knows that he won't harm her,
Mhm.
and that maybe it was in him to harm someone else, but not to harm her.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. That a lot of the time, the fear of believing somebody is because what you just, if I'm going to take what you said even further, and I agree with it, and it, it's kind of horrifying to come out of my mouth as well. But to take that even further, if that individual who is perpetrating will harm maybe these 3 out of 5,000 people, they would then what is it about? And that's not the right word per se, but there's got to be some reason that target is placed where it's placed, and that's absolutely true.
Mhm.
I mean, if you look at statistically, okay, fucked up popular belief is if you're dressed short skirt and revealing or whatever,
Mhm.
then your likelihood of getting assaulted is higher. In fact, statistically,
Untrue.
it's completely the opposite. It's actually the opposite. The majority of girls and women that get sexually assaulted are oftentimes complete, like almost in a more modest than any other.
Jeans, t-shirt, like.
Well, not just that, but and when asking, when they've actually interviewed perpetrators, what was it about that person who was completely covered in a grandma sweater or whatever that was so? Well, there's a timidity, or there's a timid energy, or a submissive energy,
Vulnerable,
a vulnerable
you view them as-
energy, a non-fighting energy about that person that I felt or that I saw.
Sure.
And so actually, I mean, the clothing has almost nothing to do with it apart. It's really the actual energy that people are carrying that makes us, I mean, because think about it, like if I've met up with Morgan today.
Yes.
And
yes.
we were talking about body size because he's 6'4" and
we were discussing actually, the fact that the height disparity between you two is massive.
yeah, he's 6'4" and I'm 5'1", and that was, so therefore, since I felt like hitting someone today, he's who I picked.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna beat the shit out of that guy.
You're right.
If that's how I felt, he would not be who I picked.
Yeah.
I would not attack him.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
he is not somebody that, for my purposes and my ability,
Mhm.
I would have any way,
Yeah.
shape, or form capacity to exact what it is that I
Right.
was trying to exact. I
Yeah.
would never pick him.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
Never in a million years. Or if I was like, you know what I want to do is a push-up contest, I
Mhm.
would not pick Morgan. I would
Yeah.
find somebody else that I
Yeah.
felt like I could totally beat their ass.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, also what is really terrifying about believing somebody is then what is it we're saying about that somebody?
Right.
Because I mean, for the most part, somebody that is a perpetrator doesn't run around doing that everywhere to everybody.
Not at all, even.
Right.
You know, it's
Right.
it's
Right.
significant in that
Yeah,
thing.
that's true. That's a really good point.
So there's a lot more that you almost have to be admitting about the person who is victimized and admitting about the person who's perpetrating that goes beneath the surface and goes under the skin that is loud when you say those things.
Right.
And about the other people around them that you say about yourself as someone who
Mhm.
knows them in proximity.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's why people are so very resistive, because it's like,
Mhm.
well, what am I not then in this situation? How do I not qualify? If I'm a woman who also knows this person and I am not in danger.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What does that say?
Mhm.
Where are we?
There's a talking about just how
Okay.
big Morgan is. at
And
this
so I
point.
mean, Emily's saying
with the picture.
Yeah, she's only 11.
11.
This little girl that
Getting these pictures.
11 years old from her father.
Oh.
From her father.
Her biological father, I'm just wondering.
I don't know about the details. I mean, just the mother's husband, but we don't know specifics about.
So I think, I don't know, forgive me for statistics, but I feel
Yeah.
like more often that's common with
Stepfather.
stepfathers.
That would make the most
Yeah.
sense. But yeah, I don't know specifically. That was my assumption.
Stepfather was? What'd you
Yeah,
say?
I assumed it was a stepfather.
Yeah, because she says, her husband sent her daughter dirty pictures. So it makes, I don't know, statistically it seems like that would be the most logical. But yeah, I don't know. That's also, it's freaky either way. But
Step.
Okay.
Yeah.
Step.
Because in that case as well, there's an implication of like, what has the mother not done correctly to be desired by her husband, that that he's wanting her daughter. Like, there's so much to make that denial necessary in her mother's case, other than just admitting that something may be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of reason. There's a lot more than just the surface level reason that people deny things like that. And it makes it even that much harder when something like that has happened for someone to want to come forward, because it's not like those things don't go through people's heads. It's not like when something bad has happened to you, 400 million reasons why it's wrong or you're going to be harmed, no one will believe you, aren't flooding your mind.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Every single one of those things goes through your mind. All of them.
Yep.
They know. You know.
Yeah, that's true. And any situation like this that we've ever talked about on this, which we have before. I mean, this is not the first. This is not the second. Not third. Not fourth. We've talked about this. And anytime we do, and I've gone back and watched it, or I've gotten feedback about it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't think there's a statement that can be made that can't bring somebody up in arms.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying by this? So if I'm saying something that sounds blaming, or I'm saying something that sounds pardoning, or I'm saying something that sounds minimizing, or I'm saying something that sounds exaggerating or embellishing, there are very few statements you can make about a situation like this that you're not gonna ignite and incite somebody's counter activity and anger or something.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for that. It is because it is as complex as it is.
It's an ongoing discussion.
Angry, and it is exaggerated, and it is embellished, and it is minimal at times, and it is all of those things wrapped up into the ugliest ball of.
And Byron's situation is
complicated.
And Byron's situation is a good example of that.
Victim blaming is a horrible thing. There's a difference between trying to get viewpoints from both sides and looking for proof and showing reasons why it couldn't happen down the victim's throat.
Yeah.
It's messy. It is messy, and it is an ongoing mess. And as long as people are fallible, which every single one of us gets the pleasure of being, it is a complicated world. And it's just, trying to be as compassionate and understanding and willing to genuinely understand someone as often as we can is the best we can do. You know, if there was just an easy answer for all of it, I'm sure we'd all.
You know what I just thought about just now was, okay, so a few minutes ago, like I vaguely, alludedly, like disclosed something about myself and about an experience that I went through, and I just realized how much, I mean, because that's something that I don't like hide in the world. Like I can go talk about it, and I do when it comes up. But I've been really, you know, that's not something that I've ventured here, even though we've talked about this like how many times.
Oh yeah, we've been doing this for a year and a half.
Yeah, we've talked about sexual assault or sexual like objectification or some form of something.
Yeah, many times.
So many times, and that's not something that I've ever ventured out there, even though it's been on my mind at times while I'm talking, doing this. I've had that going on in my head before, and intentionally not saying anything about that, even though that is my experience. And we talk all the time about other things that we've been through that, oh yeah, I went through this, and oh yeah, this happened, and oh this and that and this and that. Right. And we'll go ahead and put that out there. But that has been something that I have not done in this venue, and it's felt, and whatever it has been in my mind that hasn't been totally conscious and relatively subconscious, I'm not exactly sure what that is. Like I have to sit with that and write that out and think that out and probably talk that out to some extent. But I'm sitting here noticing I have never disclosed that before, when if it were some other type of topic, I would have disclosed that a year and a half ago. Something about the content or something about what it's gonna sound like. And even then, and I mean, I'll go back and I'll watch this later, even saying that, like I've hopped. You know what I mean? Like I hopped the hell over that. And you probably heard that. Like, I mean, I was very much like, this is it, but but here's the brick, or here's the anvil. This is where I want you all to look. I did that. Yeah.
How did that feel?
I don't know yet.
Yeah. It'd be interesting. I'd like to hear about that maybe next week.
That's
After you watch this and sort of process.
Yeah, I'm sitting there thinking about that right now.
Sure.
Pictures from the stepdad. If she was to show the mom the pictures and the mom still doesn't believe her, fuck the mom. You can't logically combat tangible proof. That's interesting too. Yeah.
So I'm wondering, what kind of evidence there is in that then that can be used, because I would hope that's the case. And an angle to consider too is that he also may have threatened her. Don't tell anybody. Don't do this. Don't do that. Or I'll do something bad. I'll do something. You delete these off your phone, or and it's hard to say, and that's scary as well, because then there's like this looming presence that's doing the thing and trying to cover it up. So then when it gets confronted, what are you gonna do, kid? And that terrifies me. That terrifies me. It makes me feel terrible because people do that. And it terrifies me. Yeah. Terrific. So I don't know. Of course, we don't know what that situation is going to end up in, and I hope it ends up in favor of the child's well-being. Whatever needs to happen.
Yeah, always.
So I mean, as it sort of unfolds, if you're aware, keep us apprised of the situation.
I had a recent situation where I was working with she's 9 years old, and she had a disclosure that she brought forward, and it was real interesting because in talking to the police department, the Crimes Against Children department, they were incredibly loving and helpful and careful, and CYFD was the complete opposite about it.
Interesting.
Yeah, like CYFD stand for?
Children, Youth, and Families Department.
Okay. I've actually heard a lot about that in terms of the way they handle things, and frustrating for many people that I know involved.
It was really interesting to see the same information, the same child, the same situation, the same everything filtered through APD, Albuquerque Police, and CYFD, the Children, Youth, and Families, and how APD was all up in arms about protecting this kid and doing whatever, and CYFD was like, well, we've assessed this, and mom's aware, mom promised she won't put her in that situation again. Or something.
It's sort of just by the books kind of thing.
I don't know. There's no way that's by the books. Like, oh, mom said sorry.
I mean, in terms of like a stimulus response. Here's the situation. Here's the solution. Here's the situation. Here's the solution. Kind of like a very a checklist of, well, what do you do to address it? Then move on.
Yeah. well, mom's still with the dude, and they're like, oh, well, mom's sorry, so she'll make sure that the kid's not alone with that guy anymore, which just blows my mind. There's no way that's in any way, shape, or form protocol.
Yeah.
No freaking way.
No.
But that's precisely what the hell flew out of that
Oh,
chick's mouth at CYFD. Yeah.
Let's see.
Miss you too, Kevin.
Okay, Michelle's ancestral dragon insulted my ancestral dragon, began 1,000-year war. That's true. That actually happened 1,000 years ago. So, and right now we're sort of building to the culmination of when the big battle of ancestry is going down. That's exciting.
Ancestry battle.
Yeah. The honor of your family rests on this one. And so I received a message that this might be ongoing. Let's see. When we lived in Midland and I was the director of our church preschool, I had a mother whose daughter was sexually abused by her father. He was a fireman and no one believed he could have done that.
Mother whose daughter was sexually abused by her father.
Mm-hmm.
He was a fireman and no one believed.
That's hard as well too. Yeah, like when someone's in a position of a claim. Dr. Luke, he didn't do this to me, therefore it didn't happen, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh well, this murder didn't kill me, so I don't know that he would do this.
I always find it kind of striking when people default quickly, like in Kesha's situation, for example, to lying, because being in that spotlight of having been the abused or having is horrible. So putting myself through that for the fuck of it.
Yeah, I can't even fathom.
Yeah, just because.
Just cause.
Yeah.
Just cause.
I'm bored.
Come on now, like
it's to ruin someone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
she
because
can do that?
there's no way as a celebrity, there's no way to come forward with that and not also ruin yourself in some ways.
Right.
So it's like a veritable. There's something self-sacrificial about protecting yourself or doing the right thing for yourself. There's this part of yourself that you have to be willing to sacrifice.
Yeah.
So the fact that people will jump so quickly to, oh, no, blows my mind, because there is absolutely nothing fun or like giggly or interesting about putting yourself out there as this happened to me.
Yeah.
It brings up a lot of other things that are very aversive that you would never want to bring out in public because it feels like total hell.
And I imagine, especially with a child, and I don't have a child, of course, so I don't, I can't, that's only projection.
Yeah.
Like if I had a child, and then I am also thinking about their future and what this would mean for them, and if I was, to get police involved and everything like that, like you're gonna do a lot of things that are gonna potentially harm, the future of your kid, especially if, God forbid, the news gets a hold of the story or anything like that. Like you have to weigh a lot of sacrifice.
Yeah.
Yeah. To hopefully get what you think will be the betterment for your child, which is to get them away from an already worse situation.
Right. That's really
for then someone to just be like, oh well, like it couldn't have happened. You're making it up.
Yeah.
And it happens so often.
And so it's specified the little girl showed all the signs of this kind of abuse. Her husband and I not only provided her help and helped her get a job, I watched the children. I even went so far as getting in touch with people who could help her just get away from that. And that's so important to recognize and do something when you can.
Yeah, I mean, how many times, it wasn't even that long ago that I saw something somewhere and one of the comments to it was like, if it really happened, they would come forward.
Oh God.
Like, really?
Yep, that's how easy it is. Yeah.
If it really happened, they wouldn't report it 6 days later. Wouldn't be 6 days later. Must mean it's not true. Like, okay.
Thanks, guy. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a guy.
Of course. If a woman had said that, I'd be like something as severely like.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard a woman say that. Now that you mention that.
Yeah.
I've only ever heard that from.
Spoken from the perspective of somebody who will not deal with that.
Right.
And very willfully ignorant too of the entire situation. Sociopath, lacking empathy, like it's quite a statement to make about somebody else's entire experience and being,
Yeah. Anyway, Kesha's new album is great.
Yeah, I need to go. I'm gonna buy it. I don't even care. I'll listen to it 1,000 times.
TheWarOfAncestry.com.
So by the way, they're away from him and fine. Interestingly enough, the mother had been abused as a child as well.
Fuck that guy. Byron. Fuck that guy.
That's right. What's happening?
The cow balloon magnet.
That was a cow balloon magnet that fell over. Copyrighted photo for enlargements. You guys believe this? If you're not from Albuquerque, this is a thing that happens as we get cow-shaped balloons every year.
You're not wrong.
Yeah. If you're from a different country for some reason and watching this, that's actually what happens here
Yeah,
annually.
it's true. All the rumors are true.
All the rumors are true, exactly. Yeah, it's been verified. It's been all over the web, but yeah. Yeah.
We're debunking.
Yeah, exactly.
Anybody's
Mythbusters. You have to pee?
I do. I need to be with
What the hell's wrong with you?
I have a bladder. It's sad.
That is sad. I feel really bad now for her. That's too bad. She could get to do the surgery, get the removal.
I don't think you can have a. Well, I guess if you have to have like a bag outside. Of
Yeah, they just replace it. But it's cool because you could like use like a hollowed out hacky sack or like an old Sonic cup.
An old Sonic cup? Styrofoam?
Yeah, it's just a styrofoam bucket.
Yuck.
You just replace your bladder.
That's nasty.
Yeah. She didn't call seat savers. No, she didn't, but I'm not going to do that. Also, it's nice because you can now see Greta in the reflection.
Oh, you can!
Yeah,
Look at
there
that.
she is.
It's
Surrounded by a bunch of other gremlins. Kind of cool.
Ooh,
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
Greta.
Oh, this will be nice when it's done.
Yeah, I will.
I'm excited. Sit in her chair, John. I'm going to do it, and I'm going to sit back, and I'm going to see if she notices.
But she's going to go back and watch it, and then...
I don't care if I fart. Just rub all my farts into the leather, and then when she comes back, she can just...
You are weird.
What's weird about that? This is very typical of the relationship that I have with
I
Michelle.
know.
It's weird for you. Well, I don't fart on your side of the bed
Thanks.
that you're aware of.
What?
Yeah.
I have to find this out now? I'm on air.
Why am I on here exactly? Yeah. I want people to know the truth.
How could you, John?
That's true. And you can barely see you in the mirror as well, too, by the way. Just side of your head. Right there. There it is. I felt good sitting in that chair. Felt good expelling gas. That's what happens. See, it's bad when Michelle's not here. I don't know what to do or say. So
I suppose you can continue your thoughts on the topic. How are you feeling
about like
this?
It's very difficult because as a man, what I want to do is offer support, kindness, a genuine ear to listen, to understand, because I want to take a position of being able to help fight against this cause. I believe that this is Michelle's first day out of the womb, and she doesn't know what she's doing at all.
Sorry.
I don't care. It's just stuff.
Whoops. I'm trying
Trying what?
something.
Trying such anything. Yeah, as a man, it's I'm trying to be an ally the best I can to listen and support and to learn, because a big thing to consider as well too is I am absolutely not defaulted into knowing all the things. I mean, as a trying to be a decent human being, it's something that I do my best to look at and consider. But the world is not being taught immediately to for men to think this way or feel this way or see things this way, and so it is kind of an uphill battle because there's a lot of people that, even if unintentional, they're defaulted into this information. It is simply a part of what men are taught. By society, by movies, by actions, and there's a lot of things out there, and so for as much progress as I've made, I still have plenty more to make. There's still things I need to learn. There's still angles I do not understand. Perspectives I can only have to a limited degree, and so it's imperative for me to actually sit in with you guys talking. You guys have been talking the majority of this, which is great for me, because it's important for me to listen to this and to understand it as best I can and to get information from you, because that's the only way I'm going to learn more about this, and to listen and to ask questions when I can, and to do my best to truly understand as well as I am possibly able, which will still never be to the degree of either of you and many other women out there. and I want to help, and I want to listen, and I want to be supportive, and to call out this behavior when I see it. Because even if it's on what is an innocuous action level, if it still comes from a place of this is where somebody's mind is, to call that out, to address rape culture, to see it and to not coddle or allow it, but to say this is not okay. This is a toxic, dangerous way of thinking, and even if your intentions are pure and you will never do anything bad, it is still information that exists that is perpetuating a greater whole of something that is simply bad. It is simply unproductive. It is simply harmful, And I want to do my best to help with that as often as I can.
I've loved how vocal you've been about it. It's always really powerful to me to hear men speak about it in those ways.
And I've learned a lot from observation and listening to people and being part of this, discussing with you and asking questions. And I mean, we have talks about it. Like it's important to listen. It's important for men to take the time to listen and understand, and not to make excuses and not to find ways to invalidate, but to genuinely listen and understand something that we will almost assuredly never be.
Morgan and I were talking earlier today. He was telling me about we were talking about like just the size of him and what it's like to have his body, to walk around in his skin suit. And he was talking about how when he was growing up, his dad was pretty like explicit with him about you're larger, you're scarier, you have to be very careful, you have to not wield your body in a way that you never can hurt anyone. Just really trying to impart to him that sort of and so what Morgan was saying about it was that he's always like sort of kept himself, a little bit withheld because of that. And he was like, and he said to me something to the effect of, I mean, I know you've never had that problem or whatever. And I was listening to him and I was like, no, actually I have, because I remember, I mean, I grew up in a very religious home where like my breasts were dangerous and having a vagina was dangerous. Because don't you dare go allure anybody, because that makes you.
Yeah, you're a succubus.
Yeah, so one way, shape, or form, I mean, being taught that your body is a dangerous thing, and that your natural body is weaponry of some sort.
It's like something almost every woman can relate to.
Yes, absolutely. Like how much don't use that.
Yeah, you are a vixen by default.
Right.
Because you were born into this, you were automatically like tempting the man.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's every all the schools across the country.
Yeah.
You can't wear the shoulders.
If you have
the
spaghetti
boys
straps,
need to focus.
Yeah, exactly. How dare you disrupt this classroom?
Need to focus.
Yeah.
They can't do math if you have your shoulders.
Yeah. Get less dumb boys at your school then. That's the If they're so easily swayed. Yeah.
Byron was trying to get me extricated from this permanently.
He was actually. They kept. I sat in the chair. I didn't fart in it, no matter how much I tried, but I wanted to.
Did you? Is that you shat in it? Huh?
I just pooped instead. I was like, I got no farts, but there's a full load in the chamber.
I'll do what I can.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, desperate times. Yeah. And both Kevin and Byron said they really enjoyed talking to you, because I mean they don't have as much exposure to you on a level like this, but because Ariel's with me and we're often together, at social events and stuff.
Kevin and I talked about Ariel and her, just the all the millions of ways that I think of things differently after I listen to her too. And I'm not even around.
I've learned a lot just from hanging out with Ariel. I had to Google what heteronormativity was a couple weeks ago. Yeah. And Byron says, it's so subtle, you don't even realize it's a thing most of the time, man. It sucks because it needs to not be a thing, but we always forget that it is a thing. There's no default setting for human. I like talking to Ariel for the same reason. We managed to have a conversation comparing boxing to jazz and music.
Cool.
So you're a good conversationalist. People like being around you. Cool. I especially like being around you. FYI. Yeah.
Blush.
Yep. Blush. There it is. And Rick says, spot on. I agree. I'm learning so much from this podcast every week. And I am too, all the time. I'm learning not only what you think, and even if it's things that I agree with you on and I previously already agreed with you on, when we get to discuss it, it teaches me more about why I think that way and why I feel that way. And if there's any part of it I can enhance or subtract to make it make even more sense.
Hmm.
You know, it's constantly like whittling down the stone statue and removing all the parts that don't make sense to be there.
Yeah.
It's great.
Whittling.
Yep, I like it.
Whittling down.
Mhm. John's lying. He told me he hates being around you. It's all a sham. A sham wow.
That's sad, Ariel.
It is. Sham wows are really sad.
It's really sad.
Yeah, now we have to clean everything.
I'm sorry for you.
I'm really sorry that we have to clean everything with sham wows now. I threw away all the sponges.
Isn't a sham like a pillowcase of some kind too?
You're thinking of a shamrock, which is a four-leaf clover.
Such a retard.
What?
I missed you.
Hanging out with uneducated
I missed
psychology masters. Yeah.
She's an idiot.
Yeah, you're book smart, but you're doing street smart.
Like shams and shams.
Yeah. Yeah, take a trip to Ireland sometime, nerd. Yeah, get cultured.
Okay.
Cool, thanks.
Yeah, you got it.
You got it, dude. That's great. Bring back Shamrock gas stations and Shamrock shakes.
Ooh.
Do you think a Shamrock is just like a fraud music show?
Shut up.
Every pun I make brings her further and further from the light.
Shut up.
Oh, it's so good.
Okay. Go to Ireland. Eat some potatoes.
Shrink your nipples.
Shrink your nipples.
Yeah, you didn't know about that? You've been to Ireland? There's a tentacle coming for me.
No, you just told me I have to go to Ireland because I've never been there.
Yeah, well, the potatoes there actually shrink your nipples. There's several types of potatoes. Some shrink the nipples, some increase the size of the milk glands,
Cool.
some will increase the size of the nipples, the area. There's a whole bunch of different like effects that various potatoes can have.
How do you know which ones are which? Do they are they labeled?
Well, they're different colors. The potatoes are, so depending on what color potato you eat, it'll have a different effect.
But sweet potatoes are not real potatoes.
They're not real potatoes, but
They're
they
not
have.
potatoes.
What are they?
They're yams.
Yeah, they're more closely related to carrots.
Ooh.
But they're leaf vegetables.
Ooh,
I
love carrots.
I
too.
learned that for the first time the other day.
I love carrots. I really like sweet potatoes, especially when they have marshmallows all over them.
Marshmallow potatoes.
Yeah.
Wait a second. I think that sounds like a cereal.
Have you never had sweet potatoes like at Thanksgiving time, like
With the marshmallows.
with the marshmallow topping and the pecan?
I've had sweet. I don't know if they. I guess I didn't think about them having marshmallows, but
We're making
Oh,
those.
that's fine. I like sweet potatoes.
You would remember if there was marshmallows all over it.
Oh,
That's
you
not-
would.
I
They're
guess.
it's so good.
Okay, I'm
What?
down.
What's happening?
I was thinking it was like a cereal.
I don't know. I tried to
She's
get
grabbing
it.
the rings, yeah. We decided this. We introduced this because Conor McGregor is
McGregor.
Irish. Irish eat a lot of potatoes, and Conor McGregor has tiny nipples. So
I didn't really
Does he?
notice,
the
but
transitive law, yeah, it
I
makes
never
sense.
noticed that.
Yeah,
Huh.
it makes sense.
That's nice for him, I guess.
It is. Well, yeah, that way he doesn't get his nipples hit during a fight.
Right, it's hard to hit them.
Yeah, they're
A little,
Hidden.
little
is
target.
that like a problematic thing?
getting your nipples punched off.
Off?
Okay, did you see that boxing match? It was between two female boxers, and one got her ear punched like halfway off.
It's science.
Did you see that boxing match between the two women boxers? I guess it's UFC, and one got her ear punched like halfway off.
Mm-mm.
Byron showed me that one, and it's because she had ears and they were sticking out, and if your nipples were sticking out, there's a chance they might get punched off. Yeah.
So you want to retract them into your body before you fight.
Correct. Or eat a lot of potatoes and they retract themselves.
Also, it shrinks arbitrarily any part of your body.
The potatoes?
Are you talking about ears?
No. The woman got her ears, or her ear punched off
You
because.
talked about retracting them. I thought
Well,
you were talking about ears.
retract the nipples. We want to retract the nipples because, like, that's a pretty big thing to lose. Her ear exploded essentially. It's really hardcore. She had cauliflower ear and got punched and basically just burst. It looked really terrible.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it was really bad. Like her hair was like hanging off halfway her head.
Yeah, they bleed a certain amount of bloody, crazy bomb style when the
Yeah.
cauliflower pop.
Yeah, it was really gross.
I don't know what that means. I don't think I want to.
The cauliflower ear?
It's the scar tissue that gets developed as
Yeah, have
the
you ever seen
ears
like
get
boxers'
hit.
ears sometimes?
Um,
There's like big, like massive blobs of scar. Like especially like all the way like up here at the top where all the cartilage is, it like puffs out like
Scar
a big
tissue.
blob of scar tissue. And eventually
Yeah, it's really funky looking.
yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. Imagine like cutting open jello but it bleeds.
That I could have gone without that.
But you didn't. Think of how enriched you are now though.
Mhm.
Okay. Fluid that builds up when your cartilage breaks in your ear. Yeah, this is pretty terrible. Like, I know, Science Hour, featuring John and Michelle and Byron. Let's see, common amongst fighters and wrestlers. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And cauliflower enthusiasts.
Yeah, and cauliflower enthusiast.
Yeah. Do you think there's like a meeting for that, like in Germany or something?
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah, out in Köln.
Not dangerous, but prone to bursting.
Yeah.
Ugly.
Yeah, it looks not good.
Yeah, it's not pretty.
It's kind of pretty, depending on what you're into. If you're into
That's anything. I
bloody
guess.
bursts, yeah.
I would be sad if my ears had cauliflower chunks.
Like in them? Like if someone like shoved cauliflower into them?
Yeah, I'd be sad if I put cauliflower in my ears.
What you could do is you could actually cut them open, like an elective surgery, open them up so like it splits in the middle, put
Mhm.
cauliflower inside, and then resuture it back together.
Yeah, like when you were talking about when like the breast enhancements or something and different stuff you'd put in there when you worked at your dad's place, like you put dirt or pizza or
You put pizza in your boob,
just
and
random things and
that
stuff.
when you feed your baby, he's getting a slice of pizza every
Yeah,
meal.
instead of using just silicone, because that doesn't feed a baby.
Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah, babies don't eat silicone
No, they don't
unless they're
want that.
robots. Then they eat silicone.
What time is it?
It's 3 to 10, yeah.
Haha, jokes. Worst competitors, I love that. Worst competitions, did you see that?
Oh my gosh.
Germans have... Damn it. That's pretty good. Byron says, Germans have worst competitions.
Worst competitions.
Trying to move it has like this really blue light. Job. Okay. We'll get rid of the to stop here just a moment.
Messenger,
Yep, there's a messenger message.
Kevin.
Kevin. Okay. So last time I was single, there was a Blockbuster on every corner. MySpace is all the rage, and I had the entire Seven Dust discography on my Zune. That's classic. It's been a while. I had to ask Coder the other day, is it creepy to message a girl who comes up in people you may know on Facebook that you find attractive? I don't really know what's acceptable as far as digital social interaction goes. This is actually a very good question in terms of communicating with people. I know that 9 in 10 guys are complete creeps on the internet, which means it's my responsibility to prove that I'm not that kind of person. I'm not very socially adept, so meeting people in person doesn't happen as frequently as I'd like it to. What do you guys think? Would you immediately block a guy that messages you on Facebook?
No.
Now, I think most women are fine with a message if it's not something that's shitty.
If all it says is "Hey," I will never respond.
'Cause
Yeah, that's stupid and
Yeah,
boring.
it's boring and
there's
dumb.
nothing
Like there's no like. It's clearly this is like you're just throwing something out there to get a bite.
Yeah.
You know. So is this someone you knew? Let's see.
Like someone.
Okay, so no, this is somebody that just came up and you thought they were attractive. So this is tricky because I remember there was a while we had discussed in the podcast, I think sometime last year. I was at Magokoro eating with my dad, and at the table next to me there was like this cute girl, and I was thinking the whole time, I should say something, I should do this, but then I kept thinking about it more and more. I was like, no, she's enjoying what she's doing. She's doing her own thing. The common bond we have is we're eating, but like that's not like the conversation starter. And so after assessing it, I didn't say a single thing to this person, let them go on their way. And maybe if I saw them at a venue or a video game store or something, it would have been like, oh, cool, you know, hey, how are you? But my conclusion in that environment was there's no reason for me to come and disrupt this person's day simply because it's like, you look good, let's see where this goes kind of thing. So I opted out of it completely. It's not to say that you can't be interested in somebody, I think, for being attractive on Facebook, but I don't know. As far as I'm concerned, it seems like a really sticky, you know, what's your intention with me? And some people are fine just kind of conversing. So I found that I converse with people all the time, not because I'm attracted to them, but because I like to speak to them. And for me, it's a really great mental flow because my intent of conversation isn't to get something, but to just, you know, hi, how are you? I'm John. You seemed cool. Let's talk, you know? And I think when you put out the intention when addressing somebody of, you know, what am I going to get? It can be kind of like, it's easy to pick up on. You gave an example where if you were at a party, I don't know if you were at a party and this happened or if you were at a party, but if you're hanging out and some guy walked up and was like, hey, I like your hair, looks good, and walked off, he approached you without the intent to
Get anything.
He was just doing a thing, and instantly you're more interested in the.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that it doesn't. So I don't think that the medium of approaching anybody is really the main topic. I think it's what is the intention behind it, because whether or not I'm in person with somebody or somebody approaches me online or anything, the phrase that I always use, if somebody's on the take about it, I don't like you. It doesn't matter where I meet you.
Yeah,
if somebody's on the give about it, then absolutely, by all means, talk to me.
It's
send me a message and tell me something interesting, or tell me something that like that picture of you made me think of this, or whatever.
Yeah.
Like they read something in your about you that was interesting.
Right. Yeah. But anytime that I've been approached online and it's like, hey, I'd like to know if you want to have dinner sometime. I'm like, wait, who, what, what?
Mm-hmm.
Like already there's a request of me.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you start off talking to me, trying to take before you've even like added anything between us at all to create any sort of entity as any sort of relationship, even an acquaintance relationship, then you have no business talking to me, I think.
Yeah.
So no, I wouldn't block somebody on Facebook just because Facebook. It's more the intention and the what's behind it, which is really actually obvious and easy for women to read. So so I wouldn't worry about it. If you're interested in her and you're not like a total creep, you're not going to come off like a creep. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like people that are creepy, they can't help it. They come off saying weird ass shit. And if you really are interested in somebody, that's going to be evident. That's going to come out because you're going to be talking to her about her. So it'll be really evident that you're not just trying to get something out of her.
Yep. So Byron says, you got to approach them without the intention that you're trying to get with them or something like that. You got to build a friendly relationship first. And then this is a couple minutes ago. And like Ariel said, don't just say, hey, you got to start a conversation. Digital makes it a lot easier with what John's saying because they can respond whenever they're available.
Kevin, what you said is perfect. No, perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
Hey there, I'm Kevin. We don't know each other, but you keep coming up in my people you may know. And I stop every time I see you. You're incredibly gorgeous. Smiley face.
The end. Right. You're not saying, so could I have your number? That's perfect what you did. Yeah. Add something to her day and then fuck off. And then if she felt responsive to that, she will message you back.
A big mistake I see, because a lot of my women friends post like the responses, is when it's like, hey, did you see my message? Hey.
Right.
Hey.
Right.
Hey.
Right.
Are you mad at me? Hey. Do you want to go do something? And then it's like, you've done it.
Bitch.
You've chopped the line, and that is the end. So right here is a great point, because
that's not too forward, because I mean you literally, like, you added something to her day, gift, then go away. If she felt responsive to you, she will. I probably fucked off. Good.
And then Aaron says, "Add want to wrestle." Perfect. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Don't add that.
Yeah. You like Irish potatoes? Yeah. Like there's a lot of really great like sort of slide-in lines.
Do you like Irish potatoes?
Yeah.
I think it's also important to remember that some people simply don't add people on Facebook that they don't know.
That's true, and it's not always going to be a hit.
Yeah, and it may not be personal.
Yeah.
Don't take it personally.
Yeah.
It may not be anything like that. You know.
They've had a bad experience before, and like they're sort of like trepidatious, which is understandable and fair. But yeah, you know, it might not pan out, but it's a good approach.
I agree that, I mean, if somebody just says hey, I would never respond to that.
I hate it.
It's so
even when good friends of mine do that to me.
It's really
It very much
it's like
feels
how John
like
hates the thumbs up.
Oh, I hate the thumbs up emoji.
I hate it.
Because it's so non-personal to me. It feels like someone is like looking down at their desk, and their response is just "yep," and I go, "Oh."
No, but it's like it's what it means is.
I know.
I know exactly what it means. Trust me, I know what the intention is. It means it going up the bottom. Right?
They're hitting on you.
Sit and spin. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But no, the hate.
It's really erotic.
Hey, it is a very extremely sensual thing for somebody to give me the thumbs up. I'm like, hey, can you print these stickers? And they're like, yeah, Austin Powers.
Oh my god.
No, the hey thing is frustrating on every single level. Like you said, is because even with best friends, it's it feels like it's
when
simply
follows it.
Yeah, like you are not talking because you want to talk. You're talking because you just have nothing to do.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I am not a dog.
Yeah. because I like engaging in conversation, but there's a lot that feels like, you're just bored, and I have a hard time participating in that. Not because I don't want to talk, but because I want to talk and not just respond.
Did you actually have something to say to me, or
Yeah.
are you just yelling at me like, "Come here, Spot"? Like,
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. And then there are people who will respond to that. There are some people who want to respond to those kinds of things. I have a hard time with it.
Hey, back. Hey,
Or-
yourself.
One that's tough for me that I see actually online is people on Facebook will actually make a post that says, "I'm bored, somebody talk to me." And I feel like I have a hard time with that because it's like, I can't participate. If there are people who can, I think that's fantastic. And if that's how you approach things, that's great. But I have a very hard time looking at that thinking, okay, let's talk about, I guess, nothing.
I eat a lot of potatoes, baby.
Oh,
Nipples
baby.
are non-existent.
Oh, baby.
Check Messenger.
Oh, baby.
Oh my god.
Oh, my God. Hey. Instead of like the, hey. That's what I'm put down there is
That I like.
contemplation
Well,
with the middle
that's
finger.
something. I mean, I send you. I'll just send you middle fingers out an hour for fun.
That's true. We have, what a,
Oh, love it.
in this context, it's fine because I know what's happening.
I miss Byron. I want to see Byron.
I was learned he was a good guy. See, I don't know who's doing it, but you will. Whoever here is farting in front of my kids, you better knock it off right now. Oh no. Oh no. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. Yeah.
Crystal's watching too. Embarrass her, please.
Okay.
Hey now.
Mm.
Wait, what?
Mm. Mickey Mouse. Ooh. Ooh, Mickey. She loves it, so it's not embarrassing her. Because we're getting to the meat and potatoes of this podcast.
Just keep going.
This is the meat and potatoes of this podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Everything before was like a warm up for this. Yeah.
You're Dr. Drew.
Ooh. Ooh, Adam Carolla.
I hate you.
I don't know how to embarrass people. I guess I do. I've embarrassed you many times, especially like at Walmart or Walgreens.
You're fun.
Yeah, we've said a lot of terrible things.
No, you've really helped me to not feel embarrassment.
'Cause it's just,
Like as though my embarrassment nerves are just shot.
you're done. Yeah, I fried your synapses.
I couldn't. Yeah, my embarrassment synapses don't exist anymore. John has completely fried them.
Yeah. I used to embarrass Christy all the time.
Yeah?
Oh yeah, like we would go to Walmart.
She was really embarrassable. Though.
She cared a lot about image. I remember several conversations we had as we were at a Walmart, and there was like a magazine with Chris Pine in the front. She goes, "Oh my god, I want to have his babies. I don't even care if he's awful." And I was like, "That's interesting. What if he's like a terrible, abusive man?" She goes, "Well, as long as our babies look good, I could put up with it." And I was like, "That's a terrible thought.
Man.
A terrible school of thought. Don't do that."
I remember.
But she was very into like the idea of like being accepted socially and physically. Which is a wonderful person, but there was a lot of really interesting, things that she was figuring out, and I think she figured a lot of them out. I checked her Instagram, and it seems like life has really gotten good for her.
Good.
Makes me very happy to hear. But one thing that we were doing was we were at Walmart, and everything embarrassed her, and so she was checking out at the checkout line, and I had a big box of condoms, and I threw it in her pile of stuff, and it was like, "You're gonna need these if that dude's gonna keep porking it all night." And she just her face just flushed immediately red, and she pretended not to know me, and she had no idea. Actually, she just completely got quiet because she had no idea what to do. And things like that.
I think that's fantastic.
Me too. You punched me in the arm when I embarrassed you at Walgreens.
It was a really bad thing that you said.
It was.
I don't think it was embarrassment that I felt though.
Were you angry?
Huh.
Were you happy? You were pleased?
It just seemed like the right response. You do something fucked up, I do something fucked up.
No, it's fair. It was an appropriate response. You could have punched me in the mouth and it would have been an appropriate response.
I could have kicked you in the asshole.
Let's see. Fast Food Dad 84 wanted me to ask if she ever ate a foot-long chili dog. John, do you ever feel embarrassment? Genuine question. So incredibly unapologetically, John, would be for most people an embarrassing amount. Meaning you're so out there in public and open. What would embarrass most? And that would embarrass most people. I'm trying to think of if there's anything offhand that does embarrass me. Because in most cases, I'll just sort of do whatever. I'll just sort of say whatever and think whatever. I think the thing that embarrasses me, if I watch somebody else get genuinely embarrassed, there's an empathy embarrassment that I just,
Secondhand embarrassment.
yeah.
Vicariously.
It's worse than actually feeling embarrassed.
Yeah.
I feel like you have control
Embarrassment
over
for
it.
others.
That's rough.
Oh yeah, that
Yeah,
one
not
hurts
much
more, I
actually
think.
gets me, but yeah, watching others can definitely be just kind of like, oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got really sleepy. I don't know if that's super.
Oh, do you want some Benadryl to wake you up?
Yeah,
Sure.
could you give me some
Absolutely.
Benadryl so that I
Yeah.
can?
Something I genuinely appreciate about you. That makes me happy to hear. I want people to feel comfortable, and I think maybe that's part of it. Is I like to try to bear the brunt of things, so people can feel like it's okay just for things to happen, and that you don't have to worry. Like ultimately, most things that embarrass people are really inconsequential,
Mhm.
and so ultimately, like I don't mind, and I want other people to see that and be okay, knowing that like just because something sucky happens, just like that. You keep going, you roll with it. You find a way just to not worry about it. You just sort of let it be what it is, and you play with it.
Yeah.
You sort of just you juggle it until it's time to put it down, and then you move on.
Yeah.
My dad always made it the point to embarrass me in any way possible. He lived for it anywhere with anyone, anytime.
That's great.
I feel like that's everybody's dad, but yeah, that's funny to think that like.
That's great.
I think most people's dads accidentally do it, but to make it like a real like intent to embarrass your kid, I think is fantastic.
I think it would be a lot of fun to have a kid just for the sole purpose of having somebody to embarrass all the time.
Yeah. Needless to say, I've lost that sense of getting embarrassed and embrace my inner weird.
Yeah, that's what John did to me. I lost the sense of embarrassment because it happened so much.
Yeah. Do you get embarrassed?
Not by you.
That's fair. Even in public, if I do weird things.
No.
You don't seem to care actually. No, you've never actually. That's something's ever bothered you. Do you get embarrassed in general about anything?
There are some things, and I don't know if embarrassment is maybe the right emotion. It comes to mind, but like I think being around people that do genuinely inappropriate things in public.
Sure.
Like,
Yeah, actually.
sort of shamefully inappropriate things.
Yeah, that's
And
fair.
being associated with them can be very embarrassing.
That makes sense. That's
You
probably.
know what? I actually do feel it whenever I'm with somebody and they're like rude to the waitress.
Oh, yeah, no, that
would
rude to
make
a
me
waiter,
feel-
Yeah.
rude to a
Or
Yeah.
like
something.
talking about something really socially unacceptable
Mhm.
loudly in a public space.
Yeah.
I feel very violent embarrassment. in those
That
moments.
makes sense. I would say that. Yeah, that would be the time I get embarrassed as well too.
Unkindness, I think.
Ooh, that's the worst.
I
That
think
makes me
unkindness,
feel
yeah.
like
Being around
frustrated
being
and angry.
around that, and so it's not that I don't get embarrassed. I don't know if it is embarrassment or maybe you see it as a bit shame.
Yeah.
I'm not really
yeah.
sure what or guilt or a mix of all of those emotions,
Yeah.
kind of. But like I
Yeah.
do feel that I'm acquainted with that emotion.
Yeah.
But I think just over silly things or just worried about like I guess in a way it is my worry about my image because I'm worried that someone will think that I think that way or that I'm also unkind.
Sure.
So I don't know. It's hard to say.
No, that makes sense. That actually makes the most sense, and I feel like that's probably my limitation as well for the embarrassment threshold.
That's where my threshold is.
Yep. Okay, so let's see. Byron says, we talked about potatoes and nipples while sitting with a random man at B-dubs, and Ariel wasn't embarrassed. She just looked at us like we were idiots. Fair.
But yeah, I don't mind. The conversation wasn't hurting anyone.
No, it was completely harmless, and it was very fun. And even if the guy listened, he'd just be like, these guys are weird. But it wasn't like, what is wrong with you? Or
sad.
making him feel uncomfortable. Because if I even got a hint of that from him, it would stop immediately. I like to be very socially conscious about other people's comfort zones.
You are. Yeah, I think you are.
Yeah, especially when it's a stranger or something that I don't want to bother somebody else.
Yeah.
If it's like with you and we're just messing around, whatever.
Right.
But if it started to overflow into somebody and genuinely make them upset, it would stop immediately.
Mhm.
That's for sure.
I have a different way of going about it, but I like to talk about weird things just as much as.
Oh, I know it's fantastic.
Yeah, just as
Yeah.
much as you do.
Yeah, it's
Like,
fun.
But so it's not embarrassing, but certainly there's a threshold I think of just like whether or not it's harmful to someone.
That makes
And
sense.
then it becomes
Just
definitely
inappropriate. Yeah.
embarrassing.
Yeah, it
If
is.
near someone that doesn't seem to understand like I guess social acceptability,
That makes
Mhm.
sense. The secondhand embarrassment is definitely.
and then or even if it's like I wonder though if I'm embarrassed for them or if I'm embarrassed to be seen near them.
It'd be associated. Are you
Yeah.
like that too? If this person that you're with is like this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
think because I wonder if it maybe is more selfish and it's a bit more of that one. If I worry then that someone will think that I'm like that as well.
Kevin says, Crystal literally has to cover her face every time Minnie comes out. She can't let passersby know her identity in relation to Minnie Sakura. That's right.
Ariel puts up with a lot.
Byron says Ariel puts up with a lot. And
Byron
yes,
doesn't get embarrassed.
she puts up with a lot. Yeah, Rick says Byron doesn't get embarrassed. You put up with a lot. Thank you.
Do you feel like you put up with a lot?
No.
That's the thing is like
I know.
it's impressive to me.
That's funny. We've talked about that a whole lot. Like times that you are aware, oh, I'm intense for these people.
Mhm.
I've never experienced you in any way, shape, or form as remotely draining.
You
or
mentioned
intense
that
or anything.
to the right person, it's never too
Not
much.
even a little bit. Like there's
No.
absolutely nothing
No.
overwhelming, nothing, not anything at all.
Mhm.
And there are definitely people that do have that effect on me where I'm like, whoa, it's too much
Sure.
of something.
Sure.
But they're
yeah.
absolutely right on target, compatible with somebody's, tolerance or
Mhm.
compatibility or whatever.
Mhm.
But yeah, you've never even like shocked me that much. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like you say things that are super shocking, but it never weirds me out that it's,
Yeah,
coming,
you just
that
sort
it's
of-
coming from you.
You know where it's coming from and what the intention is. And like, if I were saying things that were genuinely are out to like harm somebody or belittle somebody genuinely,
Mhm.
oh yeah, there'd be a problem. But ideally,
No,
you've never
no,
felt that because it's
no.
never been the case.
No,
Okay.
no.
I
John's,
love-
John's a good man.
It's time.
I'm tired. I'm very sleepy.
Time of death, 10:17.
10:17.
11:17 Central.
Time of death.
That's it. Michelle's doing
Life is done.
doing a terrible James Lifton impression. Maybe speak to Minnie Mouse. Minnie Mouse will close out this podcast.
Oh my god.
Ooh, Donald Duck.
No, not this
Ooh,
again.
Donald Duck. Poop on your bill. Let me smell it up. Let me smell the poop on your nose, Donald Duck. Poop in the water. Put your corkscrew poop pee-pee in the poo-poo. Screw the poo-poo on. Like a wine cork, Donald Duck.
I need you
Squirm around.
because I need you to explain to him as the licensed professional in the room that Minnie Mouse is proof of his deep-seated psychological issues.
I think that what is really the most fascinating about it is the way that your body moves.
Moves!
You do, you like.
It's the way that your body moves when you do it.
Oh, my body.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, well, yeah, that's definitely, I have to get into, like, it's not just a voice. If I were a voice actor and I just stood there, it's like, hey,
Do it again.
Oh, Mickey.
It's
Oh, yeah, it's sensual. It's a very, like, it's an intimate character. Yeah, she's, all she wants is love.
Is that what she wants?
Ayo, yes, she looks for me.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Yahoo! All right.
It's
So,
a way of
It is a way of life. It actually is going to start like a national, like, there's going to be a movement. A bowel
Deep-seated psychological issues.
movement. It's just a creative lightning storm
Creative.
to explore all things unexplored.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Let's call it a night.
All right, it's a night.
It's a night.
It is. Nighttime is a night. Like a knight in shining armor.
It's good to be back. Thank you, everybody.
It is. Thank you guys so much for joining us. And this is a very fun, good podcast. And we explored lots of things and had silly fun. And there's some very good things that if you're tuning at the end, you should absolutely go back and watch. And
Byron's
give us
coming
feedback
over.
on. All right. Come eat my food. I don't know if we have much food. We've only a handful of chicken nuggets left.
Is that all you have?
We ate most of them last night.
Yeah, we did.
I want some food.
Well, good luck. All right. So thank you guys. We'll be back again, presumably next week. The office might even be cleaner by
We
then.
will be here next week, and the office will be.
Maybe the same.
Potential.
But probably the same, to be totally honest. But soon. I mean, and as long as we have a room enough to like do this, we're good.
We missed you too.
We missed you guys too. Absolutely. Yeah, very much. We missed all you guys. I missed doing this. I'm very glad to be back here with you. Yeah.
Feels
Thank
good.
you for joining us
Yeah.
regularly too. Even if you're off camera, like you
Ariel
contribute very
comes
well.
from now on.
Now on Blue Ladies podcast. There it is. There it is.
All right.
All right. You guys have a good night, and we will see you in the future.
Good
Of this
night. We
country.
love you. We'll talk to you soon.